God, I love that applause, don't you?
Yeah, it's nice.
Makes me
Sounds
feel
wonderful.
Well, the applause sign was
good.
the
Yeah, the big
best.
sign that there's this
The best
applause.
$40 that you ever got on OfferUp.
Yeah, I got that on eBay. Yeah, it's pretty nice. The sound effects that came with it. Anyway, we're here and you're not, as Chevy Chase would say. At any rate, we were just going over this about the sissification of the NFL, and at first I thought, Ray, we were going to talk about which I think was one of the greatest wide receivers ever to play the game, and that was Lynn Swann. Remember Lynn Swann?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know this. He came from a really rough and tough neighborhood, which is kind of an unusual thing when you're in a rough and tough neighborhood. He was a black player, and so he kind of grew up in the ghettos. And when he was a young man, his mother made him take ballet. Now, I can't imagine this, but when he was playing football, he used some of the moves that he had learned in ballet to fake the other team out as to which direction he was moving. What do they call it, a pirouette? And all those things.
Yeah.
Jumps up in the air and does a little pirouette.
I don't remember Lynn Swann ever wearing a pink tutu, though.
No,
on the
he never wore
sidelines,
one on the field, but he did on Friday nights.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Saturday nights,
No,
even,
it's
before
amazing.
the game.
When you think about ballet, those are amazing athletes who do that. It takes a tremendous amount of strength,
Balance, yeah.
training, balance, everything.
Especially knowing that you're going to get smashed in about 10, 15 seconds. Somebody's going to knock you to the ground and
You
step
could
on
be, yeah, if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh,
You know who would be an
amazing.
interesting person to interview right now these days would be Dennis Rodman. Just to ask him, what do you think about all this that's going on right now? Because he did wear pink tutus, basically, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Well, at any rate, we want to talk a little bit with Doris. Her mother has been very, very involved in some of the activities of the Republican women. She's one of the leaders. And Doris and her sister are involved with that, Laura. And they went up to Tucson. Prescott. And that's Prescott, the way it's pronounced.
Prescott.
But if you say it into your phone and your phone's auto-typing, it's going to spell it wrong. It's
Gotcha.
Prescott, but in Arizona we always say Prescott. So it's kind of a weird thing that we do in Arizona. But so you were up there this weekend.
Yeah.
And you took a camera and you did a little bit of work up there. You got introduced to a lot of people. Tell us about this activity. There were a lot of candidates there.
Yeah, there were a lot of candidates. There were a lot of groups.
22.
A lot of women's groups. I mean, it was the Arizona Federation of Republican Women. And my mom is the president of our chapter of ASRA, so she had a booth there along with the candidates. A lot of the candidates had booths, and most of the candidates there, they had a booth. And not everybody running was there, but the ones that were there had a booth, and there were tons and tons of people. They're all very active. They're all very into it. And women are a force in politics these days, as you know. I mean, as you can tell. Here I am sitting here involved. And I know I was just playing rock and roll music a few years ago. And when our dad, my sister and I, and our mother are related to Jay Lawrence. And when he quit radio and ran for office, there was a whole new education afoot, and we basically really got into it, and so we all went. The whole family went to Prescott this weekend, and it was interesting. They had really, really charged up meetings behind closed doors. You heard hundreds of people just laughing and cheering, and we've got a plan, in the works, and the women are working twice as hard as men. Not the men, because the men are, of course, doing everything that like they've always done, but
They're the hunters and gatherers.
The women are mad as hell, and they're not going to take it anymore.
No.
I just real quick, I want to just say this. The Arizona audit and getting the Arizona audit done.
America's audit, as we call it.
America's audit. This wasn't the work of Navy SEALs. This wasn't the work of Green Berets. This is not the work of, military soldiers and all these other people. These were grandmothers for the most part, grandfathers, but mostly grandmothers and wives and women in general that basically said, you know what? We want to make sure that our children, the next generation's children, are going to live in freedom. And we're not going to accept this. And they fought their asses off, led by, of course, Liz Harris and many others that have been part of.
If you're watching, Liz, we love you.
This entire, teamwork of over 300, 400, 500 people that went out and canvassed and did everything right and just would not take no for an answer. And being, someone that's seeing it on the outside, it's so encouraging to see that these women have so much fight in them and that they're not going to give up. And I think that the men can learn a lot from the women, for sure.
Doris, do you think, and you may think back just a few years ago when Sarah Palin was running for VP.
Yeah.
Was she instrumental in what's happening now today with the mama bears and ready to go out there and fight and not take it anymore?
I don't really think so. I didn't look at her like that. I was kind of embarrassed by her a little bit. And I was more embarrassed by the party for putting her in that position and sort of parading her around, knowing that she wasn't quite right for the job. We needed we need seriousness, and we need people, women especially, have to prove themselves, again and again and again in brand new markets and brand new, platforms all the time, because we're just getting into some of these places, and it's important. And I think Sarah Palin was kind of a setback. That's my personal feeling about it. I'm sure that she led, she probably gave women a sense of, if she can do it, I can do it. Probably, maybe women got that kind of sense because, she had the optics. They had the optics. She was good with the optics, but when it came down to it, she wasn't very well vetted, I guess would be the word, because she said silly things and she made women look silly in a way. And
well, I think the
stupid.
media made her look silly.
Yeah.
I actually argued back then that of all the people running for president, she had the most experience of all of them.
Yeah, she probably
She
did.
was a sportscaster. She was the mayor of Wasilla, a small town. She was then the governor of a state. She was the only governor that was running. And, John McCain and Barack Obama were senators. I mean, a senator is not really experienced, folks. It's just casting votes.
Yeah.
You're not hitting payrolls.
And she was a
You're
governor.
not doing profit and loss statements.
Yeah.
You're not hiring and firing people.
Yeah.
So I think that Sarah Palin actually, it was the only good thing about the my friend's ticket, if you will.
Yeah, I can
with
see
John
that,
McCain.
Josh, too. I can see that. You're right,
So-
because I liked her personally.
I thought she was amazing, but
I did
here's
like
the
her.
thing:
I
we
did
had a
too.
Western conservative woman running around the country, connecting with people in the Midwest and elsewhere, and the left absolutely said, "No way, we cannot have this woman who is on the same wavelength of many of the voters for the Republican Party. We can't have that, so therefore we have to destroy her."
Yeah.
And that's when they took, Tina Fey and SNL and made her seem stupid and too folksy and all that. But in reality, I loved her. I thought she was great. I thought she was the only good thing about that ticket, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I need to take a time out right here
Okay.
for something that's really important. You mentioned your dad.
Yeah.
And many of you have heard her say her dad, but many of you don't know who her dad is. It's Jay Lawrence. Jay Lawrence was a state representative. I've known Jay for a long time. We both came from the same part of the United States. He got into radio at long before I even before I even knew what a radio was.
I've met him a few times too.
And,
He's
and
very
that
nice
doesn't
guy.
mean you're an old man, Jay. I know you're watching. But any
Give you a
rate,
run for your money.
he has, for years, I listened to him on another radio station. I used to call him the man with the golden voice. He has this very melodic voice. And we are so pleased here at Hub Radio. Tomorrow night is going to be his premiere show.
Wow.
He is going to be the Jay Lawrence Show right here. And so we want you all to tune in. This is going to be, and he's going to have as his guest CQ. Now, many of you don't know who CQ is. He's one of the
Behind the scenes.
behind the
shot
scenes.
callers.
He is
Kind
a
of a-
consultant, strategist, I guess. And it will really. I've known him for a long time as well, and I'm always amazed at the way he sees a political scene differently than what I do.
Now, Ron, I'm curious because, Jay has done quite a bit. And what is his show going to be around? What's the general theme of the show? Is it more of an interview show?
Well,
Is
it's
it
going to be interviews, but he's going to take being in the legislature. He brings a different perspective than we can.
Right.
I know Ray had run for the legislature. Unfortunately, ran against a legend who'd been in there probably almost as long as I've been in
The
Arizona.
statue is being made of her right now.
She's been there for like 48 years, and Ray ran against her, gave her a good race, but it's hard to beat a legend. But he's been there. He knows how the legislature works. He knows how the horse swapping, I guess, is one of the.
But is it more of a talk show? Is there
He's
going to
be
be some commentary?
He's going to be talking and commentating. It's not going to be unlike our show, although he will be doing this solo with. He's going to have ex-governors, former governors, on the show. He's talked to me about some of the other people that he plans on having on the show, and it should be a really good show. I'm certainly going to be here for that tomorrow night.
Well,
and,
I think that's why him being on KTAR. Well, we're not.
Oops, you said it.
What?
She's
For
not supposed
as
to
long as
say
he was,
other
he-
radio
that's
stations.
That's where he got a lot of his knowledge about where the issues were and where the problems were, and he had all different kinds of people on his show, and he really did get an idea about what he could do, or what holes needed to be filled, and that's why he quit and ran for office. So he already had a pretty good base of what was going on before he even did it.
It was really
so that helped him a lot, I
interesting
think.
because I've listened to
Helps
him
us
for
all.
years, and I've always enjoyed listening to Jay Lawrence. And please watch tomorrow night.
Yeah.
But the thing is I was there one night, and it was a Saturday night. I was thrilled to death that I'm sitting in the same room with Jay Lawrence, and that's how I personally felt. Wow, some guy that I've idolized for years, and I'm in the same room with him.
Yeah,
A legend, a
yeah.
pioneer.
A legend. And the nice thing about it is, during one of the breaks, he says, "I'm thinking about running for the legislature." And I kind of did a double take, and I thought, "You're so successful on the radio. Why would you want to?" I kind of felt that might be a step down from where you're at, rather than a step up. But
he
he
loved it.
did
He
run,
really did. He
and
loved
he
it.
was a force to be reckoned with. I remember one year, and I showed Jay the picture yesterday. He was in here, and he was at the inauguration. Well, no, it was the opening session, and I was a guest, and I was sitting in the first row with the majority leader, and he was I guess they call it the president pro tem of the Senate for that, before the governor gave the State of the State speech and that, and he was sitting up there and just regal, just looked like, I'm the man,
Yeah,
and
we get to
just
see
had
him
a
for
good
the
time
speaker
with
one
him.
time.
But he's going to be here tomorrow night, 7:00. Please watch. This will be one of the great shows of all time.
Yeah.
Jay Lawrence is back. Go ahead.
I
Now
think
interrupt you.
that's going to boost our listenership, or our viewership.
Oh, yeah,
I think because he really does have a lot of people that. I mean, even while he was running, throughout the elections, we called thousands and thousands, like 400 people a day or something. We were making phone calls when he was running, and everybody knew who he was already, and it was good. It was a good election. That last election, it got a little bit nasty. You brought George Soros came in with all of his
boy.
people, and they just blanketed the whole process with corruption and nastiness.
Now, Doris, speaking of your dad, you said you and your sister and your mom and your dad all went up to Prescott.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
We did.
Now,
Yeah.
do we have any pictures?
And we have,
any-
I think we have a video, don't we,
we?
Mr.
Yeah.
Mr. DeSante? And so, if you're ready to run that, now's a good time. Watch the screen, ladies and
We
gentlemen.
wanted to ask you about your radio show. Are you getting ready to do a radio show?
Way to go, way to go. Yes, getting ready to do a radio program on Hub Radio and TV. My first show is the 1st of July, 7 p.m. Constantine Carrard, CQ, well known as a consultant, will be my guest, and we'll talk about winners and losers in the last election.
So you're going to stay involved in politics, and of course, and you have a lot of great guests you're going to have on your shows. Are you going to have Sheriff Joe Arpaio?
Sheriff Joe has been a friend for many years. Of course, he'll be a guest. I'm hoarse from cheering.
I did hear.
There.
I did notice that you guys are having a good time in there. Crazy, huh? So, so that's Thursdays at 7 p.m. on Hub Radio Phoenix, and this guy just happens to be my dad right here.
You are a great interviewer.
Thank you, thank you. So we'll see you soon, everybody.
Good job.
You see
Good
what I
job.
mean about his voice? He just
Oh,
has
that
such a
is-
distinctive voice.
Yeah, that is
Even
wonderful.
with being
I've
hoarse.
met him a few times.
Yeah.
I met him in Kingman. I've met him in Scottsdale. A bunch of different venues. I've
Yeah,
met him.
he's still really got the fire for.
So
for
sum up
being
this
active.
event, a big event,
Yeah.
a lot of people running.
Yes.
You had a chance to, that was your first interview? with
Yeah,
your
that was
dad?
my first field, in the field.
Because normally the people that you're interviewing don't kiss you after
Right.
each
No,
interview.
no,
So I
none
just,
of the others did. I interviewed
Yeah.
a few other people,
Okay.
And they
the
kissed you
first
too?
day, the first day I didn't get the sound right, so that was a learning experience. The first day, all the interviews were soundless.
oh
So
no.
yeah, so the second day I got it figured out, and I got some interviews done. But yeah.
Now I know it's early and you interviewed a lot of people, but who were you most impressed with?
Well,
Jay Lawrence.
I think I was impressed. Well, they weren't really candidates. I wasn't impressed with the candidate. I was impressed with the women who have put these groups together. They have these groups, and they get their people in their community together, and they're all working really hard. They put together things to raffle off, and they put together. They're really the backbone of the Federation of Republican Women. Really, it's women that run the groups. They just get up early. They work hard. They still have to have their regular lives they have to attend to, and their families and everything, and they just make it work somehow. That's what I was really most impressed with. There was a lady, Lori Bango, that I spoke with. She was I think we have a flyer here for her. She's the Christian Federation,
Yes,
right?
It's on my
And
desk.
she's
Unfortunately, I forgot
she's
to
an
bring it.
educator. There were a lot of educators there, and I like that because that's not corrupt. That's people that teach and know how to teach and are teaching the right thing. Now, granted, we're not teaching the right things anymore in our schools
No.
with history and what have you, but this woman she agreed. I asked her, would you ever want to come to our radio station and give us some history lessons? And she said she'd be happy to. And so she was really knowledgeable about American history. We stood there and talked for 20 minutes, and I learned a bunch of things I didn't know before. And this had nothing to do with what she was there for. She wasn't there to teach history. She was there to gather up all the women. She was the chairman of this committee. Yeah, it's the Arizona Christian Patriots right here, and you can't see it close, but all these groups meet once a week or twice a week, and they're doing good things for our party, and it's important. Like Josh said, they're really making it work, helping.
Well,
the
I'll
thing
tell you,
work out.
and Josh, some of these people out there, they're tired of sitting on the couch watching things happen. They want to be movers and shakers. They want to make things happen. And they're working so hard. They have a fire in their belly to go out there and do some great things.
Yeah.
But some of the people that are already elected in high positions don't have a belly for serving. They don't
No.
have a belly for our veterans. They don't have a belly and a fire to go out and do something good. And we talked right before the show about our VP in residence. And do you still have that on your phone? Do you want to share that with
What she said about veterans in particular. I
And that would
it
be
was
Kamala.
absolutely
Jeez, disgraceful.
horrific.
Yeah.
What
This is Kamala
Heels
Harris,
up.
the vice president.
Well, this
Harris.
article was with regard to her staffing, but I think I
Right.
might have that one that I showed you.
Basically, she was saying that military veterans are not special classes of people, and that they should be treated like everybody else, and that they need to fend for themselves. Is this it right here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it
This
was
was-
really
this was-
obnoxious.
It was disgusting.
Yeah, it really was. Let's
These
see.
are people that give up a lot of their time,
Comment from-
effort.
From Heels Up on what happened here. The United States government cannot continue to pay for the every need of what has become a special class of citizen. Veterans are equal to us, not better than us.
Well, I disagree with that.
Yeah.
Veterans are the best of us. Veteran Affairs coddles them.
Really? Is that why they had to wait online, dying to
And
get
many
care?
of them-
Is that
many
called
of them
coddling?
died
Really?
to get medical care.
It creates a dependency upon which it is not doing, what is this, doing these former soldiers any good.
Dependency. Wow. The people that want everybody under their thumb, dependent on them, is calling veterans dependent?
Unbelievable. They need to learn to live on their own 2 feet.
Well, what if they don't have 2 feet anymore?
They were blown
Huh?
off in a war.
And had they not gone,
Scumbag.
we wouldn't have a ground to lay
And be
back
responsible adults.
Well, really?
Now read-
Responsible adults?
Read the next part, which I find just so shocking.
The easiest way to assist them on this journey is to
Cut them off.
Wow.
Wow. Within these next 4 years, We will be shuttering the VA, taking away soldier welfare. The money saved will go to better use in assisting refugee families.
Oh my.
These poor folks seek asylum with us and need to boost. It is our responsibility as a nation to provide it. So here's a message to the soldier boys: get a job.
Oh my.
Now, okay.
This is
Wow.
the vice
First and
president
foremost,
of the United
so-
States.
That's
Even
disgusting.
this statement seems even too outrageous for even Heels Up Headboard Harris. I would do some fact checking on this to find out if this is 100% what she said, whether or not it was embellished. But let's be plain as day. They have a disdain for the military. They do not like this country. They took the votes from the military, from the overseas military ballots, and they took them. These people went and fought and bled and died for this country, many of them. And this is how they treat veterans, and this is how they treat their votes. I mean, it's bad enough what they did to the rest of our votes, but to do this to the military, it's just
So
disgusting.
what's happening right now? Is it a general? Is it Milley who is? Okay, tell us a little bit about that, Josh.
Mealy Mouth Millie? Yeah, this guy is absolutely disgusting. The fact that he wears the uniform.
Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Yeah, I don't care who he is. I mean, he shouldn't even be, a
No.
dog watcher.
He needs to resign.
He's disgusting. And for him to say and brag that he reads, Mein Kampf and he reads Mao Zedong and he reads Lenin, really?
Communist
You-
Manifesto.
The Communist Manifesto, and you're the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff? You're a disgrace to America. You're a disgrace to the uniform. I'm a big supporter of the military, big supporter of the police. But when someone that much of an ass clown goes out there and says what he says, you are a disgrace. You should resign and you should go away. And you should actually have that job for someone that loves this country instead of wants to desecrate it and cause all these problems with communism. And look, they fire people for speaking out against communism, and yet they embrace them. I know why you embrace them, because you embrace your Chinese slave masters. That's why.
And I'll tell you something. The Biden administration just came out with a budget. I wish I had
The
put this.
pretendency.
Oh gosh.
Is that what you're talking about?
Any rate, you can't believe how much money they have put into defense spending. An increase of 2% at a
wanted to
time
cut it
when
25%.
inflation is 5%, which means they are cutting our military expenditures.
I heard that right now with the budget the way it is, we have one less Navy ship in operation on the waters right now. One less. That's just what it is. What the cuts the way they are now, and they want to cut it more. It's at the military is at the very bottom of the very bottom of the list, dead last in the HR bill.
That's right. That's the very
bottom, very last
item.
thing.
2%
And
is all they want to.
and just as we talked about before with entertainment, and it's the whole perception of things. Didn't they come out recently, Josh, with that the Republicans want to cut the budgets for local police because they didn't go along with this $6 trillion deal? They're playing it as though
it's a poison pill.
we've always supported the police.
Of
We've
course.
always it's been the Republicans who didn't support it.
Yeah,
Yet
they're
the
trying
facts,
to blame the Republicans,
Right.
right?
right?
Well, it
It's
sounds
just
like to me it's
typical.
probably a poison pill. That's what the left does. They try to pass legislation that no one wants, and then what they do is they stick something in there that will make the Republicans vote against it so they can run campaign ads in the midterm saying, oh, look, they voted
good,
to
yeah.
get rid of the police or whatever. It's something silly and stupid.
Yeah.
Obviously, Republicans and conservatives believe in law and order. We are the ones that are
100%.
protecting the police. We are the ones that support the police, not these folks that want to call in a social worker when someone shows up with a gun at their door.
Here was the other
Okay
part
with me
of
if we
this.
shut the whole mainstream media down. They should just go
Three-strike
away.
rule.
Yeah.
Listen, Congress has the
Three-strike
power to
rule.
do that.
Yeah.
Here
The
was
airwaves belong to we the people.
Yeah.
Here was some of the numbers. Okay, they want to spend on Homeland Security, no increase whatsoever for Homeland Security.
Right.
I say cut the
They're
whole
leaving
thing.
us- they're leaving us
2% for defense,
Weak.
and then the other one was for the Justice Department. It was 5%.
Increase.
One of the
Increase.
worst
Only
government
5.
decisions ever was the creation of the Department of Homeland
I
Security.
agree 100%.
Now, maybe at the time under George W. Bush, it was during 9/11, and it was a reaction to that, of course. But just like anything else, it's like heroin to a drug addict, right? When the wrong people are in control, all of a sudden now they have this
Abusive.
giant new entity at their disposal, and I think it's the fourth largest entity of the United States government, hundreds of thousands of employees.
Yeah,
They should get rid of the Department of
That's why
Homeland
we have so
Security.
much. That's why we have no
Gone.
ammunition. They bought up all the ammunition
Yep.
when they
Gone.
all the good ammunition. Now we get ammunition with expiration dates on it. You know,
Yeah.
it's
And
not
I,
right.
and I think we can all agree here on the show. And, again, we give you a lot of commentary. We try to present all the facts to you. But all of us agree that if you're talking about your individual rights, your individual liberty, your individual freedoms, we will back you 100%.
Absolutely.
When you collectively come together and demand rights as a collective to separate us and get away from e pluribus unum, I can't
We have a
support that.
problem. Right.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're
No,
absolutely
I won't,
right.
I won't either.
And we're nearing the end of our
Land
show
of the
here.
free, home of the brave.
But I did want to say, again, this 4th of July coming up, and that's American Independence Day.
Yep.
Happy
This
4th.
is
Boy,
what
let's-
it is about, your individual freedoms, your right to decide for yourself, for your future.
There is no other Independence Day.
Be with your family, be with your friends, and
Yes.
remember, we live in the greatest country on earth, and we are going to do everything we can to preserve it
right.
and to protect it. And the 4th of July should be a week-long celebration. All businesses should be shut down. We should celebrate for a week straight.
Maybe,
Fly the
My
flag.
favorite holiday.
maybe
Wear
what
the
everybody
hat.
could do is
Okay,
go ahead and read the Declaration of Independence
Read the
before you
Declaration
before
of
you blow off some
Independence.
fireworks.
We're going
because that
out.
might
We're going
inspire
out
you.
now, and I wanted to say, tune in tomorrow night for the Jay Lawrence Show, and we'll see you Monday. Backstreet Gossip, so don't go away. We'll be back tomorrow and Monday. So have
Happy
a good
4th of
4th of
July.
Happy 4th, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye now.